Okay, we are going to talk about. We are still on IO. Let me see if you have Notepad plus plus. Okay, there is no Notepad plus plus. So we want to talk about how to read and write to a file. The other time we talked about file. You know how to construct a file and how to write to a file. So as part of a method of a file which I didn't talk about the last time is how can you create empty file and how can you create a folder or a directory. So let's create a new project to demonstrate what we want to do. Let's create the project and call it IO tutorial. That's input output tutorial. So this is a project. In the project we now be going to create a package just like a folder structure. Let's put it, but notwithstanding, even under the default package we can still create our classes there. So I still want to refresh our memory about the file demo. So public static void main. Now when we talk about file, it's equal to new file. You put the path to the file here, right? So but I press Ctrl Shift I so that we import it. But if you put a path here, let's say C, that's C drive, let's say tutorial, let's say file demo. You know this file does not exist.
Yes.
Because if you go to your C drive now, let's go there now and check. You see that we don't have such directory there. In our C drive, we don't have such directory there. So file has other method, because I told you to look at to check all the method of the file. We have a method called create new file. Can you see it? Create new file. Or but what we are trying to create is not new file. F dot make directory. So you see, make directory is when we want to make a single directory. But now when you look at it, this is a folder inside C drive. This is another folder inside that folder. So that means we have two directory. So when you want to do it now, you just click, you choose that make directory. So look at the create directory name by this abstract part. You understand? Because they call it abstract part because this part does not exist. It will return true or false. So if the file, if the program was able to create directory, it will return true. Otherwise, it will return false. You may now decide to say, okay, if f dot make directory, you may decide to say if is equal to true, where by default is true. That is, if is true, let's say okay, system.out.print directory created s system.out.print unable to create directory. So let's run it and see what will happen. You see directory created. So if you now go to our, you see tutorial, inside tutorial you see file demo, and according to what we learned that time, so assuming we run it again, unable to create directory because directory already exists. So and you can check, you know, we can check if file exists.
Yes.
This. So that is a demo of how to create it. Now, assuming you now have a file, and that's okay. Sample.txt So let's do something. Instead of, we have a directory like this. So let's create another class again so that we'll explore the file. Say file demo2. So probably start with me. So we are going to take this file. Oh, sorry. So I just want to copy this file so that we see how to create a new file. How do we create a new file? This is a file, so we can create this file and say, okay, let's create a file and call it lesson1.txt. That is, you have to put the extension when you want to create a file. So it means that lesson1 is .txt what? T.
Text file.
That's a text file. If it is a Word document you want to create, it's going to be this extension. If it is Excel, it's going to be XLS. We have to XLS X, another file extension. If it is PDF, we have PDF. If it is JPEG, we have JPG, or you can say GIV, or you can say PNG. So those are different file extensions you may decide that, okay, you want to create. So how do we create the file? So all you need to do is, we have a method called create file. F.create new file. So it will create the new file, return true if the file was able to create successfully. So all you need to do is to say, okay, if F.create new file, that is, if it's true, you can say, okay, file created successfully, else you can say, okay, unable to create file. You understand? So it will ask us to add something like exception, which I'm going to teach us later. This exception, we have what we call exception, because when there is error, an error is generally referred to as exception in programming. So there is a way that, okay, any program that we run, you put them in a try, then the catch, whenever the error occurs, is whatever you want to put in the catch. But it's another class that we are going to look at it. So now when you look at it now, if you now run this program now, you see file created successfully. So if you go inside this, you see now we have lesson 1 with, when you edit it, it's just a text file with nothing inside. You see how we create directory, how we create a file. But now what we want to do is, how do we write to a file and how do we read the content of a file? So we have classes that we can use to write to a file, and we have classes that we can use to read from a file. They both have different methods. So the parent class for writing to a file is output stream, while the parent class for reading from a file is input stream. Just like when we have a method that, okay, we are under the list. A list is a parent to array list, linked list. A set is a parent to tree set. This map is a parent to hash map, hash table. So this one, output stream. So we now have a lot of stream under it. Even all this one, we can write not just a file, with different kind of file, and we can equally read different kind of file, be PDF, Excel, and this and that. But we are coming to that. So under the output stream, we have what we call file output stream. It's a class which all you need to know now is, what method does this one have? We have object output stream. We have byte array output stream. We have pipe output, pipe. Do you know the output stream? Do you know how you understand this? Every first name of a class must start with capital letter. Byte is a word to start with capital letter. Array is a word to start with capital. Output stream is a complete word. Output is a word. Stream is another. Do you understand it?
Yes.
So that now we still have so many this thing. We have a data output stream. We have file writer. We have a scanner. There are many of them. You know all these classes. So we have a file reader. You now translate all this one to input what? Stream. Under here. You see, it's easy to understand them. Input stream, file input stream, file this and that. You understand?
Yes.
So we are going to take like two of them. We write to a file, then we read from a file. You now go and check the method under all of them. Because as it is now, even if I want to write program, I will know that okay, this thing exists. But it's not that all the method under them I know them offhand. You understand? But I already know that if I want to do a file, so that when you want to work, you check internet most of the time. But what we are doing is know their existence, that this thing exists, this is what this thing can do. So all these classes, they are classes that you can use to do some kind of manipulation. You understand? Assuming there is network now, we can use this one to read the content of a website. Most of the time when you can open a stream to a website and trying to write to it, you can use it to download a file. Because when you get the file, you can copy the file and put it to another. So there is a way to copy. And I'm going to show us another library again that we can use to copy file, move file, do one thing or the other. And we still have another class on the stream again that we are going to talk about. So let's pick the first one, file input stream. Okay, let's pick object input stream for now.
Output.
Object output stream. Yes, where is object?
That's
object output stream. So we are going to see how to construct object output stream. We are going to write to a file. But you know the most important thing is you know, if even when you want to create an object, it doesn't necessarily mean that the file should exist. If the file does not exist, it will create it. And there is a way where you can append to the existing file. That when we want to write, we don't want to delete the file, we want to append to it. Just like a situation where you open a file, you edit the file, you add to it, you save it back. So it's possible here too. If you have questions, you can ask your question before we proceed. So let's pick this Mr. Man. Object output stream. New object output stream. You see output stream. Can you see it?
Yes, sir.
So object output stream take file output stream. You see that you pass file output stream because you want to write to a file, or maybe you can pass another output stream to it. We are coming to that. But when you want to create a constructor for object output stream, the first thing is we want to write to a file. You understand? All you need to do is first create a constructor for a file. Even if this file exists, it will delete the file. So now the first thing is when you want to create a when you are creating for object output stream have a need an output stream inside it. So but the first thing you need to do is to create a file output stream because we want to write to a file. It's equal to new. You see, I just press Ctrl space so that I will see the constructor. Can you see the constructor? That this file output stream take five.
Okay.
Or the name, the directory. I can copy the old directory like this
Inside
instead of the. You understand? Now look at this file output stream. How many constructor does it have now? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But most of this constructor that we normally use is what they mean is if you don't create a file, it's either you pass the name of the file directly. What this one means is I can pass this one here directly inside here. But there is something I will tell you, which is I will explain it. There is what we call try. You open the brace. After the brace, you say catch. Let's just say exception. I'm going to take you through exception later. So it means that when this code could not run, it will throw this what? Error. But the code that you want to run, you put it between the opening and closing brace of this try. You understand? Do you get it? Now, how many constructor we have this constructor? Or if you don't want to pass a string to it now, you pass the file to it. Okay. Do we understand it? And look at it. It has a constructor. Can you look at it? This pooling. It means that if you write a file, let's try something out. So when you want to write to a file, now the next thing is you get your object output string. Now say object, because this one doesn't have a way of we can write, it will work fine. We can write, it will equally work what? It will work fine. We can now say f out dot what? Right, but you know it's a byte. As me we want to write a string. Welcome to stream programming. You understand? So you know what I want to write. Dot write what? Write. What does it take?
Byte.
It takes byte, and we can see it take an integer. Here we can write byte. We just specify off length and from here to here. You understand? But if you want to write byte, I can say test dot get byte. You know a string has a method called get byte. Do you get it?
Yes, sir.
Because I told you that you should explore all the method of a string. A string, when you say write, what do you see? Take what?
Byte.
An array of what? Byte. That is, you can write an array of what? Byte here. But notwithstanding, there is a method of a string that say, okay, get byte. A string, that is any string, you can get a byte of that string. Look at what does it return?
Byte.
An array of byte, which is what this one is expecting. So after you write it, you may now decide to what? F out dot, you close it. So let's print out something. Record created. Let's see. If this program run fine, you will see record created. Otherwise, you will see an error occur. Do you get it? Record created. So if we now go inside this file and check what goes there, you see it, we have 1 kilobyte now. Can you see it? That is how to write to a file. I don't know if you get it. This is the step you need to take. When you want to write to a file, you need the file. Even if this file does not exist, look at it. If you run this, you know this file does not exist.
Yes.
It will automatically create it. Look at it. It's not necessary that this file will exist. You understand?
Yes,
look at it. Now, there is something you need to learn again. What do we do here? This step doesn't change. You just need to know it. Okay, you have a file, or it's either you, when you create file output stream, it's either you pass the file there, or you pass this complete directory inside there. Then you continue to write. If I want to write again, I can say, okay, string message is equal to, this is another test, kindly check it out. I can still say f out dot what? Write. I just say message dot get byte, right? You understand?
Yes, sir.
So if you run it now, you see the file created, right? It will replace the existing one. Can you see it? It's replacing it. You don't know that it's replacing it.
Yes. Replacing it.
It's replacing the existing one.
Existing test.
The former one we wrote.
Yes.
Yes.
No available.
Yes, it's not. If we say okay, if we say stream programming, you see it will replace it. If I run it again, it will replace it. Look at it, stream program. But if you now pass a constructor here, that true. Did you see it? Because when you come here, you see boolean append. Can you see it?
Yes, sir.
Create a file output stream to write to the file represented by this. If this second argument is true, then byte will be written to the end of the file rather than the beginning. Do you understand what this one means? If I pass F there now, if I decide to write to a file, let's say this is Shina Peter. Let's say okay. If I now say okay, f out dot what? Write. Let's say 1 dot get byte. Right? You know, now we've written it. We try to write now. Created. Now look at it. If you now open it now, you see that this man does not equal overwrite the first one. You don't get it.
It's continued.
It will continue adding to it. So that is why at times when you open a file, existing file, you don't delete the existing file. You just write to it, then you save it back. This is all the logic, all this logic, you need all this logic. When we come to the main file, you see how we. Then let me teach you another. We know we are saying get byte, get byte. Let me teach you another way to write to a file using object output stream. So let's try and copy some stuff from here. Let's always put our program in a try and catch. Try, catch, exception E. Can print out anything. So we want to use object output stream. You see object output stream. You see. Let me just, it's equal to new object. See, we have different this in array storage. Okay, we have different Marshall output stream, object output stream. We have pipe output stream. Now look at it. What does object output stream? You take just one constructor. That constructor output stream. It means that I can pass this file output stream there. If I have any other output stream, I can pass it there. So what differentiate this one is just that this one has method that this guy doesn't have. Ordinarily, if I want to write to a file, I can just exclude this one, but I have to be saying get byte. But now look at object out dot. It has a method. Can you see different method it has? It has that get byte too. You understand? You can write boolean. You can write string. Can you see it? That you take what? String.
String dot get byte.
Yes, you can write object. You take write UTF. So if I say okay, write, I can write byte. So pass a welcome to stream programming. Look at it now. Look at this /n. It means that it should go to the next line. So after, don't forget, after you write it, close the output. The first thing is close the f out, close, then close the main out too. Does what? Close. Do you get it? Do you get it? You open two stream now, this and this, so you need to close them respectively.
Okay.
So now, you know, we make this append to be what? True. So that this file, it will not erase the file, it will just write to this, it will just append to this file, an error occur. What is that error? If you want to get the error, you can say, okay, print stack trace. It doesn't mean that this file is open, it can't change because this file, I think because this file, let's try. It may say that another process is using the file. String close. An error occur. Okay. If you decide not to close this, let's see. Okay, this is wrong. So we shouldn't, you don't close this, just close this automatically. The other side, just close the file out. Yes. So if you now go here now, even if you go here and check, okay, don't save. Let's say, let's open it. Say welcome to stream program. You see, it just appends to what we have there. So the difference between this and this is that this one does not have a method to take a file. This is what you need to know. This output stream, object output stream, it doesn't have a method to take a file, but it take other output stream. But other output stream now have a method to take a file. So that is why you now say, okay, you that you have a method, I will give it to you. Take the file, pass yourself inside this one, so that I'll be able to use the method of this one to write to the file. Do you get it? So I'm going to give you one example to read from a file now, so that we'll continue our stream programming in the next class. File reader 1. Let's say public static void. As usual, let's put it in try and catch. I'm just using E. You can use anything you like. You can say you can use any variable name, but you put exception. But for now, I'm going to give you different exception we have. If you know that okay, this is the exception you are expecting here, you catch it. You understand? So that different kind of error you'll be able to log it. But this one is general way of catching exception. So all you need to do now is you create a file. If I want to read, what I want to read now is this file, this same file. I need this file. I want to read this file.
No, she's laptop.
Original of.
Sorry.
You know 1 year your voice this time.
Okay. So let's, you know what we want to do now, we want to read, that's input stream. We create file input stream is equal to new file input stream. It also take what? File. Shift. I want to put control shift. Do you see it? They look similar. I want to read it now. And that's the object input stream is equal to new object what? Input stream. It takes what? Input stream as argument. I can now say okay, I want to print what I want to read. OT dot. You see? It has so many methods to read. You can read byte. You can read byte. You can read. You may decide to read object. Read UTF. Look at UTF is a string. When you know what you want to read, is a string. Read Osha. Read this. You see, read full. You may decide to specify the byte you want to read. We are coming to that. Let's try and say okay. Read what do you want to read? Read byte. Sorry, I just want you to explore all the method. After you read, always close. And that's what does it read first? Okay, let's read the OT dot read UTF. So we are now going to close it afterwards. What is happening? It's supposed to give us that text. What we're expecting is we're expecting that text.
Okay.
And the walls.
Expecting that text. File object input stream is equal to new object input stream. File input stream is equal to this. Okay, I can say ot.read UTF. UTF now supposed to give us the content of this season. Isn't that no? It's not. It doesn't mean. Two. You can read the file. It's so different. Why the file is open? You can still read it. Okay, let's see what is happening. Send.add. Is it that it's giving us error? Error occur. Maybe it's giving out error. We don't know. Okay. Let's say okay. What is the error? Error dot print stack trace. We want to actually see the error. Invalid header stream. Read this. Okay. And now we're standing. Let's use another reader. I just want to show how to read. Today, let's use another reader. Say file reader. Now, what does it take? File. So let's pass our file there. Okay. Let's say fa dot read How does this? If we should have just check internet. Now we can read a character, number of character. This one is just reading character by character. I may decide to specify the number of character I want to read. And this is ready to read this and this. We can read character from this to this. That's another class. Okay, I supposed to check online, but let's do something. Let's see. I want to check why that output stream is supposed to give us a good result, but I will check it so that maybe when we continue our class, we are having this error. Reader stream. Why are we having this error? Ordinarily this thing is supposed to work fine. An error occur. Okay, we'll check it in the next class. So let's focus on writing to a file. When you write to a file, you can preview it. You check every other method under writing to a file. So